Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and of course we're joined by author and economic analyst here at WAM, John Sneisen, and something we've seen that is reminiscent of what we saw back in 2008 is happening again here in Canada. And as the Bloomberg Markets article says, BMO bundles uninsured mortgages in a Canadian bond first. So John, can you go into what this means and how this affects people?
Yeah, so what's interesting with this is it's the first time, apparently, that Bank of Montreal is collateralizing $1.96 billion of loans. So remember, we have videos where we describe, what happened in 2008. I highly recommend that you look at the Stephen Kendall one that we did, where he explains everything that happened in 2008. This is what is starting to happen in Canada, because now housing market's at a bubble level. So of course Bank of Montreal wants to push their potential risk off their balance sheet. So what they did is they collateralized the $1.96 billion of loans. Now when you go further into the article, it was Moody's in a pre-sale report claiming, I say claiming because they, these rating agencies back in 2008, they said that it was AAA rated, these investments. So they apparently say that 95% of the securities in the transaction is AAA rated, which means that they have the possibility to sell it to pension funds and other agencies that are looking for the proper risk in order to put their money, because pension funds are very, very low risk when they do put in their money into investments. So that's why, of course, they needed that AAA, because if it wasn't, then of course, they would be like, hey, whoa, I'm staying out of this. Problem was, though, remember in 2008 when Moody's, S&P, Standard & Poor's, and others, what they did is they had blatantly, rated these the different tranches, they call them, where there's different mortgages and like different portions of the investment. So what they did is they rated them AAA, but the problem was there was a whole bunch of crap in there. There was a whole bunch of massive undervalued subprime loans hidden in there. Well, now I see this as a very risky thing, because we're at a bubble level here in both Toronto, Vancouver, and other places here in Canada. So why are they suddenly issuing this 1.96? Well, it was, of course, the government is saying that the deal comes as the Canadian government tries to tame the housing market. Now, of course, this is not really taming the housing market, because what they do now is they take all these loans that they've been making money off of, and now they just sell it for fees to other. They collateralize them. They put them.
Well, John, let's quickly go into because let's translate this for the majority of people who have no idea what you're talking about right now. So with the collateralized debt obligations, they put all of these mortgages into a big package, and then they sell a few good ones among a whole bunch of bad ones, and it rips off the public.
Yeah, so what they claim, though, is that, of course, 95% of them is supposed to be like the highest grade investment. I can't even see that in the real estate bubble market. How can you rate like 95% at AAA? I would highly suggest that if you're a pension fund, manager or anybody, be a little bit skeptical, more skeptical, and just, trusting the rating agencies, because they broke the trust back in 2008, and RMs in Norway, different pension funds here, just went completely bankrupt.
In the U.S. And I think it's really important that we kind of go into how what their motive is. Their motive of manipulating the market so that they can prop up something that's eventually going to blow up.
Yeah, well, they want to make more money off of the mortgages that they had, so they just package them into this package and then, sell it. They continue to resell it until like it's like where you have you pass a music chair game where basically who's gonna sit with the collateralized debt obligation when it explodes.
And usually musical chairs you want to win, but I think in this case you want to miss your seat.
Yeah, I think so. You don't want to be that last guy in this musical chair game, because you're gonna be the guy that's gonna sit there bankrupt like a whole RM in Norway was completely without money because this collateralized debt obligation system collapsed right in their hands as they held it in their investment portfolio.
So musical chairs on opposite day. All right.
Well, as a little detail though, that they don't really like go too much into, but they say the lowest rated portion will be B2, so that's quite low as a rating. And then the bond graders said, but there's also non-rated portions in there as well. So who knows? Like, of course, 95% is perfect credit. You don't have to worry about anything, right?
Yeah.
Because AAA is like investing in a country. How, in my point of view, how can you AAA a mortgage? There is risk there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a risk that people could lose their job and then they'll lose their house and that mortgage goes delinquent. It goes into bankruptcy. How can you like put the same rating on a mortgage as you would do with a country that could just print money out of thin air? Those people cannot print money. They're getting ripped off by the bank because they got this mortgage that they might shouldn't have had in the first place. And then they go bankrupt. They can't print that money like Germany can that has a AAA rating. So, like in my point of view, don't it make sense to you, Josh, that AAA, like when you look at the comparison of the two, like does that make sense?
Well, I think that we all know that the people that we're talking about here thrive heavily off of debt, and they thrive off of debt in the sense that's their end game. They want people to be in debt because they love it when people are in debt. Not only can they just buy up that debt, but they can also push these people into servitude to them eventually because they can't. They are helpless. They are forced to ask for a helping hand from the government and the banks.
Yeah, exactly. They all the bailouts, like the remnants of 2008, we've seen, people gotten their restructurings and so on. A lot of people went bankrupt after that again because, of course, they restructured them at way higher rates and so on. So people, they took basically most of the money out of people's pockets and then, you were screwed again. Sorry.
Well, I think it would be good to finish this off with a solution for people because too often people talk about the problem but don't give a solution. Unfortunately, in the mainstream, what we see often is the utilization of a problem, then a reaction, then a solution, and then repeat. And I think we should have a solution that doesn't repeat these problems over and over again. That Hegelian nature of things. So, John, can you go into what a solution can be for people to avoid this kind of insanity when it all comes crashing down, and as it seems to be anyway?
Well, the risk is in whoever is investing in this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's, of course, in the pension funds that, whatever pension fund you have. If you go and look at portfolios, for example, I've even seen in my insurance fund that I have some money into, I even seen there they have derivatives in their portfolio. So that means, they have derivatives like this mortgage-backed security, or if they call it collateralized debt obligation, collateralized loan obligation, where there's businesses that they package their loans. Like they're infamous for this. They take all this debt and package it together in one investment, and then suddenly at one poof, like when the bubble pops, all these derivatives, the banks made a ton of money on them, selling them. That's what they do, and then they just, pull out the rug and everybody's bankrupt. So I warn people, of course, this is my opinion, but I say, I would stay as far away as I can from, any paper derivatives that could, doesn't matter if it has AAA rating as we saw here. Like, I think it's idiotic to rate all these, like 95% of mortgages in that whole package as AAA. It doesn't make sense. It stinks like 2008. The lies and the collusion between the rating agencies and the banksters. This stinks as rotten eggs, and I think it is, to be honest with you. So I would say, try to, stay out of this. And of course, on the other side, you don't want to be one of these guys locked up in one of these terrible loans. Look at the real estate markets. Like when you do buy a home, don't buy it and think of it as an investment when you buy it for personal purpose.
Yeah, it's not an asset.
Never do that. That's a huge risk. So what you want to do, you just got to understand that, your home is your home. You want to, if you want nice things in your home, it's your own risk. Don't, over mortgage your house of the current value, the loan to value and so on. Just prepare yourself and watch yourself for this massive amount of debt that these banksters are thriving on.
Well, surely insure yourself outside of that debt spectrum. So, I mean, insure yourself with sound money, that kind of stuff, and learn how to take care of yourself, be self-reliant instead of dependent, and stay out of that system as far as you can, and make sure that you're never in debt. Make sure that you can insure yourself long-term, and not for investment purposes, but just for insurance purposes. Sound money is great. Stay off the centralized system. Be decentralized, and of course, learn how to take care of yourself in any way that you can. Because
and if you're debt-free, you're not a part of this whole scheme that the banksters are plotting.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything. These people feed off of dependence, and we need to be independent to avoid all this insanity. So just closing it off, thanks, John, and you guys can check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, we can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, and of course, check our address for Bitcoin in the comments and the description, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. We are really needing these donations these days, as YouTube vastly demonetizes us and censors us and pushes us out of the regular algorithm. And you can also check the link for the Red Pill Expo below, where you can see people like J. Edward Griffin, Ty Bollinger, James Corbett, Lord Moncton,
Cynthia
Robert
McKinney,
Kiyosaki,
former Green Party leader in the United States. She has seen the light. She's come over to the from the collectivist to the individualist.
Oh, that's great. There's a whole bunch of people that are going to be speaking there in Bozeman, Montana in June, and we hope you join us there. But until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson and John Sneisen signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.